first tried Michel Thomas. The problem there is if he would say, how would you say I had, or something like j'avais, and I could see it, but I couldn't get it out of my mouth. Like, was it j'avais, you know? The living language course is something I think has been around since World War II. I actually really like the course. It's not that interesting, but I think I think this gave me a decent old French foundation. Next, I tried Pimsleur, FSI, just the old Barons. You used to find these in the store all the time, but trying to respond to everything when you haven't mentally processed it is difficult. It wasn't fun. So I tried a symbol, and then went to French in Action videos. It was a fun way to go back and build a big set of vocabulary I could understand passively. You know, by the end, I could go back and I could read Tintin, I could read Asterix. I think it was Jacques Prévert. You could read Camus, The Stranger, by the end of this, but it was all passive. And I finally just sort of just quit in frustration after a year. Yeah. Drive yourself nuts. Your website was out there, and at this point, I think I paid. If there was a language course, I bought it. So I was like feeling kind of stupid, like you know, like do I really need to buy this guy's language course? But I was super frustrated because I couldn't really speak.
Limited.
It wasn't listening comprehension. It was, but I couldn't speak.
What made you take my program, Smart French?
At the time, there you had a website and you had a blog, and on the blog you had 3 demos. There was Sondis, it was a model. There was he wasn't the ambassador, but he was like the consul general in Los Angeles, Jean-Luc Sibud. Oh, then there was Rene, who was the coiffeur.
Yes.
Yes. And so there were short bits.
They are still, all of these are still part of my course, of course.
Right. So there was that was for free. So you could try the method out in little bits, and I could go back and I could complete that. And if I can complete that, then I noticed for instance, I'd set a goal for myself to get through all the audio of a symbol and audio of French in Action. But if I did that, I was actually doing better, because if you're taking the contraction and breaking it down to little bits, and then you can hear the French with all the syllables pronounced, it's easy. But first I bought Smart French, and then I bought the CDs. I bought the CDs as a download. And then what I did, actually I forgot to put a step here. So I think I only did 6 to 10 lessons. And that's all I needed. I think I went back and I did a review I did Michel Thomas Advanced, but I did it with sound, and I did it with a notebook where I'd been stuck. I took a study. There's a used textbook I found called Savoir Dire, Dianim Dansero. It's almost a graduate level book on French phonology using International Phonetic Alphabet. The build-up drills were very good, and it instructed you on. At one point I could reproduce it, but it was easy after Smart French. So then my command on it got a lot stronger, and then what I did is I went back and I finished the lessons where I was stuck. Yeah. I don't think I spent a lot of time on this. When I say there's a lot of activity, for instance, I would review a Smart French lesson and then review, say, a week's worth of lessons in a symbol. Or I would review a Smart French lesson, and then I would take a lesson of audio in French in Action. And so what I was, French in Action with the videos has clips of, there are 3 speeds. There's the very slow formal French, there's a scripted French, but some good acting, and then there's French movies. Yeah. So this, the effect of being in the country, I was getting 3 different sources here between the Selmo French in Action and Smart French. And then I pulled in Radio en Français Facile, which includes interviews, unscripted, full speed, and little bits. And I think I just sat around, I did listen and repeat and listened. In 2007, I could understand the Sarkozy Royale interviews.
Okay, nice.
Then I would read a Maigret novel in English and pick it up and read it in French. I think I read Jules Verne. And then finally, The Vacation in French. And that's where I was able to pop off day one. I remember we rented a car. We drove to Guernsey. I remember got out and I asked for recommendations, like where could we go for lunch? You know, how do we find Monet's house? You know, how do I get back on the auto route? I could call somebody up on the phone and give them my name and make a reservation. That's near impossible. I mean, this is just hopping out. I'd started out trying to make Assemble and French in Action work, and I think there's still 2 favorite courses, but let's say 3 sources that really helped. One, there was Michel Thomas, the beginning, Smart French, which breaks the sound barrier. And there's a Radio en Français Facile. They've got these little 30-second, 60-second sound bites of unscripted interview with a script. And if you listen to them every day for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, you'll suddenly notice a progression. I listed the other books I found useful. So if I had to do it over again, I know this is busy, but what I did is I have a must-have, useful, and some alternatives, and then other courses I just don't think I would touch. Now with the Smart French, you have Smart French, French Whisper, 100 words. You'd have something from the beginner to the advanced level. I think you just do it, follow the instructions. French in Action, I think I would use the textbook and the video. In a lot of ways, it's a good parallel, because where you teach actors how to speak without an accent. This is watching actors in action. And a number of the actors are quite good. It's fun, and if you have the text, you have the scripts, and you can apply the rules of French Whisper, and then listen and hear it.
Yeah, actually, I really like that series. It's very nice. I mean, she's very good.
Yes. Yeah. So I would think, these 2, Smart French, French Whisper, and the French in Action videos and text are just must-haves, because you have the Vu Nu form here when you enter the store, and then the way French actually speak here. And you can hear it. I would include Radio en Français Facile. And then I have, of course, there's your obligatory dictionaries, phrase books, grammar books.
Of course.
They're must-haves. And then I listed all these other methods here, which they're useful, but I would first put my money on Smart French, French Whisper, and then getting a hold of a textbook. The videos are free. And then after that, if you had money left over, you could decide where to put it. I mean, guys like, there's this Michel Thomas, Paul Noble, Rapid French, which is earworms. If you wanted to spend the money because, repeating 100 words is not interesting and you want a toy to play with, I mean, our brains work like that. This could be useful at the beginning. Cortina and Berlise, these are the, I would also say Magic Key to French. If you can find that, these are really good, I think, grammar books. Assemble French, not a must-have, but I really like the series. It's if you have the sound, you can build a 5,000 word base very easily. French in Action workbooks and audio, again, I really like it, but and the CLE vocabulary books, ways to extend your vocabulary, but I don't think they're must-haves. There's some options. And then I list French for Reading and Savoir Dire. These are graduate level type. If you really want to dig in and understand vocabulary and the sounds, they're there. But
can you say just 2 words? Are you familiar with Rosetta Stone, Babel, and Duolingo.
Right. So over here, I listed other methods that aren't in the circle. And in black here, I put software, Rosetta Stone, and Babel. I would not buy, well, it's a toy. If it's fun, yes, but I never retained anything from these methods. Um, no, Rosetta Stone and Babel are fun, but I don't, what it requires is that you'll see a prompt and hear something, and then you have to type something in or respond to a voice recognition system. And it's just, as opposed to just listening and then repeating and
Yeah,
letting your own
and
ear catch, I don't, it's not a
and
useful.
voice recognition can be very good if what you are repeating is exactly the way French speak, but it's not necessarily the case. So, and so about Duolingo now, it's free.
Dual,
It's free.
Duolingo is free. I think it's something like $7 to buy the premium edition. It makes a game a language of grammar translation. So
Yeah,
I think that one, if you wanted to play with something on the phone, that one's not bad. I would
yeah,
recommend that one. But I put listed here in black. I think these are, well, they're toys.
yeah.
They're software, but I don't find them very an effective use of time.
Okay, okay.
Um,
Yeah, that's great.
so in gray here, I listed the Barron's FSI method, Pimsleur, and another one that's called Learn in Your Car, which are the American audiolingual
Mm-hmm.
things. Now, I think these methods are very good, but uh, the problem there is something I didn't realize is if it's based on a scripted version
But yeah,
of
that's the
French,
problem. Yeah, very
and
scripted. Yeah, it's scripted.
so I don't I'm sort of torn on that. They're good programs, but I and that I'm a bit snobby on that. Is I don't trust Americans. If I want French, I want somebody from France.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
um, and
Okay.
so for that matter, if you want an audio lingual program, I would go over here and I would buy the French in Action and work with Smart French and French Whisperer. Um,
Okay.
as I think these are, you get your VU new form here, and then you get the
Yeah.
contracted conversational form. I think they're
Yeah.
superior.
It's plenty. It's plenty. And you prepared another slide.
Yeah, one more, and I was going to explain the competition out there. There's French Today and another fellow. There's Camille French Today and Authentic French. Um, I bought some of Camille's material. I don't use her material much, and I haven't bought any of Johann's material, but I put them out there. They put a lot of effort into making their material. They would perhaps be an alternative if you don't want to do French in Action. But
Mhm.
the problem there, it's scripted. There's no point for me to go back and do anything scripted because I already understand it. Right. Yeah, so this would be if somebody was starting out to learn French, say plan on 18 to 24 months if you start.
Mhm.
And I would start right out with I mean, my preference would be to go with your course, right?
Yeah.
But
Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, it would be to take, like I said, the competition out there has some, they've got some good material, but what I liked, particularly if you start out with the beginner, you have the slowest delivery of French cut into very, I mean, there's no way you can get it, you could get it wrong. It's in slow motion. You just sit there and listen and mimic. I would start out with, well, with the course, it'll come out with the 100 words, go
Mhm.
to the French Whisperer, and then Smart French Beginner.
Mhm.
Like I said, I put these in, if you wanted to mix in another course, the Michel Thomas, Paul Noble's
Paul Noble.
Simple
Yeah, it's the
Approach,
same. Yeah.
Rapid French, the earworms. It's about explaining the the basics. They're not going to set you back on money that much, and would work with these. Like I said, these are optional. This one I think would be a must. And then I would move into taking, finishing out the Smart French lessons, French Whisper Review. Um, and then I would add, once you've done the 19 lessons, you're gonna, I would jump straight into real material, radio en français facile, French movies, your movie clips, books, and then back this up with dictionaries and reference. So you're going to go out from something very small to something, I mean, you'll actually be listening to French movies and be a little patient with it. And said I listed, if you want to then build vocabulary, I would recommend the Assemble courses. The French in Action are my favorite.
Yeah.
And I said, if you're academically inclined, if you started out with 100 words, French Whisper, Michel Thomas, you can then jump into some very advanced explanations of French grammar with reading. I mean, if you can handle this, then you could actually, I mean, you could actually just do this bit right here, and go back with, I mean, French Whisper, Michel Thomas, and then jump straight over into movies and some graduate type texts, and you don't have to buy any more methods. Yeah, and so the French in Action uses the videos and the movie clips, and then the book with the acting, I think pairs well with teaching to speak like an actor. And then the Assemble methods are dual text the same way the texts are. So I think they pair, but really I think if you just got it down to this and just forget that you're going to pay money and buy a method and it's going to teach you, instead you go after real material and teachers to help you, then
yes, I recommend, I always recommend that people take a class, you know. It's there is no better way than to go into the class, especially, I mean, if you do these programs before or simultaneously, then a class will be very fun, no?
Right. So if you did a, say, a French class, this reading French savoir dire, I mean, these are, even these are French classes. It's French class material, but take a French class somewhere after, then it would be, then it would be fun.
Yes. I mean, I recommend every French class in every high school, or, you know, and
right.
Alliance Française, you know, French Institute and so on. All this is great. I mean,
I didn't take a French course, but what I did do is I listened to the 52 audio lessons of Pierre Capritz and his assistant explaining French grammar.
Yes.
Just listen to him, and then I took in large parts of savoir dire and reading French graduate level. But that's after but this is what I would recommend now, is you'd set it on a video, like if you just forget about method and just focus on the basics.
Yes. I hope you liked what John had to say. Click on the link and I'll see you on the next page. Salut.